because the brother is same old shit. The brother and sister-in-law of former First Lady Michelle Obama are suing an elite private school in Wisconsin, alleging racial discrimination against their sons. Craig and Kelly Robinson say the University School of Milwaukee expelled their sons after the couple raised concerns about the treatment of students of color. The couple claims the school failed to provide a safe, inclusive learning environment and repeatedly used stereotypical and harmful content in lessons and assignments. Here's how the University School of Milwaukee responded. Today, a former school family filed a lawsuit against USM. The lawsuit alleges that the school's decision to non-renew the enrollment of the family's 2 children constituted an effort to retaliate against the family for raising concerns about the treatment of students of color and underrepresented students. The former school family has also been in contact with media to discuss their legal case. We regard highly the privacy and confidentiality of our community members, and we cannot comment on the specifics of matters involving threatened or pending litigation. However, we can tell you that USM's enrollment decisions had nothing to do with complaints of inequity or discrimination, and we intend to vigorously defend the school against any claim to the contrary. Since going public, more families have corroborated the Robinsons' claim of discriminatory practices by the school. Okay, now, here's the thing. I don't believe a damn word they said, because if you are treating the kids of the former First Lady's brother-in-law like that, oh, you for damn sure treating the black kids and the underrepresented kids who don't have any power like crap at that school. You're definitely doing stuff you ain't got no business doing. Because I ain't throwing no shade. I'm not trying to say nothing to cast aspersions on the character, but I don't know Craig and Kelly Robinson to be really like picking up picket signs and out there marching in Black Lives Matter. Maybe they did it and I missed it, I don't know. But they don't really seem like the kind of people that's really trying to push the envelope too far. They probably just wanted their kids to go to school in an inclusive environment. That's my speculation. So if they're raising an issue that has now been corroborated according to the Robinson family by 40 families, there's a problem there. Kelly, what's your reaction to, I'm sorry, Crystal, what's your reaction to this story?
Well, I think that they are using their means and their access to, privilege and political office to highlight this discrimination case. And that's what it sounds like it is. And the fact that 40 other families have corroborated this, then they're not singled out. They're not, asking for special treatment based upon their political affiliation, based upon their political, their political affiliation with the former president of the United States. And so I think that, any family who has experienced any form of discrimination by any university, any institution, are well within their rights to sue and pursue legal action. And that seems that that's what this case is about, and that's what they're doing. I think the school is obviously embarrassed, not only because, there's legal action being taken against them, but also because of the celebrity associated with this case, in that this is the brother of the former president, or brother-in-law of the former president of the United States and First Lady of the United States. And so it just adds a level of awareness and of heightened, scrutiny and security around this. But I think that they should sue, make sure that other families have voice in this lawsuit as well, and let this university know that they cannot take these kinds of actions in the future and be able to sweep it under the rug.
I agree. I'm a firm believer in Black people being more litigious, okay? Call the manager, sue somebody, get some coin if you're being discriminated against, especially if you have the means.
Leave a bad review.
Hello.
Whatever you got to do.
Okay. Yeah. All of that. Better Business Bureau, whatever it is you got to do to spread the word, do that, okay? But Dr. Carr, what is your take, though? I mean, several of the families just took their kids out of the school. Do you think that there is a forcing mechanism for an elite institution like this to really to change their ways? Or, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't sue. I'm not saying that they shouldn't draw attention to it, but you know, you from the illustrious Howard, and I'm just curious if you think that that's even like something that could even be forced, given your, you know, your experience in education.
Oh man, Reese, that's a hell of a question. We just wrapped for the semester at the law school this week. My last class was last night, and we actually talked about First Amendment rights and protections in schools. And ironically, the two institutions where you find fewer constitutional guarantees are schools and prisons. There's a lot more leeway given to prison superintendents and to school principals and attendants when it comes to children. Now, that having been said, there's even more leeway when you're talking about private institutions. So no, there's no incentive for the University School of Milwaukee to do anything. I mean, they're in Wisconsin, after all, where the white nationalist party is running rampant over the law and in the legislature. This might actually heighten their reputation. If you look at their website, I didn't see but one black person, and he was an alum. You got about 1,000 students there. It costs $30,000 a year to go to school there. And you know, and it was such a pleasure to see you last Friday when we were at the African American Museum celebrating Jackie Robinson. And one of the things Jackie Robinson said when he almost he had to hold himself back from beating the tar out of a cop on 125th Street. He said after the police apologized to him for the confrontation, he said, "But it shouldn't have to be because it was Jackie Robinson.
Right.
If I hadn't been Jackie Robinson, they'd have beat me up." So with all due respect to the Robinsons, let me be very clear about this. Their children who this private school said we can no longer associate with your family. Their children who they sent a letter home to their parents and said you didn't demonstrate respect for our expertise and you didn't treat them in respectful and trustworthy, fair and kind manner. Their children are going to be okay.
Yeah.
It is those babies who don't have a recourse, who are suffering every day this kind of thing. So, you know, just because we black and this gets some attention, this should draw even more attention to the fact that what you said, these aren't the ones who necessarily make a lot of noise. Well, you know what? Come on over to the side and fight for the babies who don't have $30,000 a year for private school education.
I know that's right. Because look, they said take your funky ass to 30,000 or 60,000 in this case and go on, because we're going to continue to do our white stuff the way we want to do it. If you don't like it, too bad. We don't need you anyway. But to your point, Dr. Carr, the ones we really need to be worried about, the ones who they getting $30,000 from public school education funding for a whole class full of kids, you know, and they don't have the books and they don't have iPads or whatever, so they don't have ventilation in their classrooms, heat, anything like that. That's what we really need to be concerned about. But, you know, you still got to pay. You got to remind folks that this kind of stuff is happening regardless of your socioeconomic status. You can't outrun being black. You can't outrich being black. There's nothing you can do about that because they're going to always remind you. Dr. Walker, you're an educator as well, so I just want you to get the last word on this topic.
So, Reese, I think it's important to keep it 100 in this conversation. They have been probably doing this for years, right? Especially these private schools. I mean, it's different. The public schools have certain mechanisms in place that you can hold people responsible. Private schools, especially the affluent ones, with all their money, listen, they've been doing this for a long time. And what happened is the Robinsons just had the political clout to call them out. Yeah. It's just that simple. And I think also it's important for all those kids who were who were attending that school, who may be there on partial scholarship or et cetera, who've been catching hell for years. Hopefully this forces the administration, whoever the board of trustees, et cetera, to make some changes now that they're getting all this political pressure they don't want. You don't mess with someone who's affiliated with former president of the United States' family. Yeah. That's just a bad political move. And now they're paying for it. But the bottom line is they've been doing this for a long time. My wife and I had a situation where we had to pull our son out of a private school very early on because we just didn't like the way the language they used. And I know a lot of black folks, similar situations have happened. So listen, this happens all throughout the country, and we have to make sure we protect our black babies. And, as we talked about in this conversation, this is happening all the time, and it happens a lot in private schools.
You're right. And I'm not in any way trying to insinuate that, because Black children are wealthy, that they should not be given the protections of not being in a racially hostile environment, because I don't believe that at all. I think, like you said, we need to protect all our babies. The wealthy ones, the partial scholarship, the full scholarship ones, the ones at the public schools, charter schools, whatever, they all need to be protected, and they all need to come up in an environment that is constructive and healthy and empowering for them.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?